My Gavanen Melonin, and well met indeed. I am Arak Hegarlidirthan, head of the modding team behind Divide and Conquer, and welcome back to the same as we continue on as Angmar. We are doing bad and good at both the same time. Overlord Agandau the Honourable, who is currently still our faction leader, and has a nice little army, is about to raid the Hobbits and teach them a lesson or two, destroy every building, and then try and leave. And hopefully it'll coincide with the arrival of Bedwila, who comes with our largest and best force to date. Who is going to push south through Knockforclaw.
Yes, my
and then people have suggested that I then go east and take Camath Bryn and come in at Bree from the east, rather than just going straight for Bree. And you know what? I think I will do that. I think that's probably a good idea. We will then definitely know that we won't have Bree knocking on our door behind us. And by the time we arrive at Camath Bryn, we should get some more reinforcements from Ladris. Now, they'll be cheap trash. But they can always follow along behind. Numbers count for a great deal when you're fighting against a nation that can throw numbers at you. Now, I've said many times that we outclass Bree quite substantially. And we do not actually need... Oh, Bilbo Baggins. We don't actually need numbers to beat them. We can beat them with the skill of our nation. Our forces are better than theirs. And so we can do it. Numbers always helps a little bit. No, we can't get away from that. So we're going to throw numbers at it. We're training some more troops there. Hopefully retraining. Yes, perfect as well. Barkhaleg, are you bringing anything? No training symbol there. Athelin, you're giving me a guild, aren't you? And who are you? You're about to be the garrison. That's all right. Oh, I'll tell you what, actually. Let's not do that. Let's pull you in as a garrison and you in as the garrison. And separate those two out accordingly. Of course, in the next version, if you've all seen the developer diary, Shadun is moving to there in the middle of the mountains, giving Angmar a nicer sort of north-south path into the Etten Moors and then down into Rudau proper. And, of course, then Shadun has gone, and it is now called Mount Graham. Whilst, strictly speaking, Mount Graham is this thing. All we know of Mount Graham is that it is at the end of a spur of the Misty Mountains, so it's there basically. But having the town there wouldn't really work, so having it in the middle is much nicer. So that's very cool. But at the moment, we are about to attack Hobbiton. Yes, of course. Yes. I was going to end the turn, but then I thought, no, we want to siege these buggers. We don't want to siege them. Sorry, we're raiding. So in and out. And we get the opportunity to kill Bilbo Baggins the Kind, who, as one of the few hobbits with any actual military experience, and all his military experience is, I swung a sword a few times against some spiders some years back. Or we might not even be there yet. What date is it? No, we don't. Yeah, he's been and done that. Then his military experience is more than all the other hobbits. He also, of course, has a fine mithril vest, so he should prove very difficult to kill. So here we go. Now, some points to discuss. Number one, Special Sunday, the gentleman who provided us some voices for Anduin and Dunland, has also put his hand to Dol Amroth. And as I mentioned this, I've received the files and not yet listened to them. But I'm expecting such wonderful things. And it would be very, very nice to have a bespoke Dol Amroth. But of course, Dol Amroth at the moment does have bespoke sounds. Oh, we need to change the Bree banner as well. Oh dear, that doesn't really suit at all. A leaf and some stags. Some antlers. Where's my pen? There it is. Bree. That'll do for now. I'll remember what that means. He says, absolutely knowing he won't. Anyway, so Dol Amroth have been given better voices, if you will. And hopefully this will then continue to other nations as well. Always keen on getting unique voices. The one thing that always really... The one thing that always stood out to me with Third Age Total War is... it's a bit of a random one, but Rovanian. When you play as Rovanian and you click on certain units, they used to say their names. I mean, they still do. For example, the Iwothiodar Horse Guards would say that when you clicked on them, and they'd say a shorter version as well, just like Iwothiodar. And that always used to make me think, like, gosh, this mod is so professional. They've got like their units that they have named are being mentioned when you click on them, and I used to love that. And so if we can get that in DaC, I would be so pleased. Why won't you go over there? What's wrong with there? Anyway, we'll go there then. What the hell? Oh, there's 111 of them, not 11. I thought there was 11. Now, they are up against archers. I'm pretty sure Bilbo is Bandobras, isn't he? And they've got Journeyman. And they've also got Watchman Bogart. Oh dear. Right, so it's going to be a case of... let's send the cavalry around the other way. You guys go over there. Otherwise, I think we probably are just going to we're going to get torn apart here. Really, it's going to be a massacre. Run everyone down the middle. Right, generals, you go with the cavalry. Just get on the other side of that hill. Come in from the other side. Now, something that I am throwing around in my mind, and I'll talk about while our army moves into position ready to slaughter these fools, is Stellaris. Obviously, I've mentioned that I've been playing Stellaris almost non-stop recently, as it definitely has replaced Sins of a Solar Empire for me with how much more Empire management there is. And I've spoken about that at length. And people have said, like, oh, Gally, you should do a Stellaris video. And people always say that whenever I say I'm playing a certain game, they'll say, oh, you should do it on YouTube, you should do it on YouTube, you should do it on YouTube. But recently I stumbled across a YouTube channel called the Templin Institute. And they did a very, very cool, I thought, actually I really enjoyed it, a very cool series whereby what they did is they played the game live stream. So they'd live stream every sort of Saturday or whatever for a couple of hours, and they'd play the game there, and people would tune in, tune out, as you do with live streams. But then once a month, they would then do a video where they kind of reported on the progress of their nation. They were the Greater Terran Union, they called themselves, in a sort of historical archive-style video. So it was almost like a news report about what has happened to the Greater Terran Union and key events in their wars and this kind of thing. And with just general images in the background, some images from the game, some just from people that have created images for them. And I thought it was a really fun and interesting way of doing a Stellaris playthrough, and it really got the creative juices flowing for me, if you will, because one of the things I absolutely love about this game and these types of games is the ability to mold the campaign entirely to your will. So you create in Stellaris, for example, you create your own race, you give them a backstory, you can create all their names, the names of their ships, you can rename everything, you can name your planets, you name just all of that kind of stuff. And obviously that allows you to stamp a bit of your personality or your nation's supposed personality into the game, and I love it. And then to be able to create a story behind that, as you conquer your way across the stars or create alliances across the stars, however you want to play, and then to be able to sort of there's a pikeman bugger. To be able to then sort of represent that as a serious sort of almost documentary style thing, that really clicks with me, and I really like the idea of it, but it obviously is an insane amount of work, because if you'll apologise for my sort of ruminating on this subject at the moment.
Enemy general lies
Oh, Bilbo has died. Oh, sorry, Bilbo. Rather ignominious passing. Anyway, one of the things with live streams, as I'm sure many of you are aware, is that you absolutely must stick to your schedules. Live streaming lives and dies, on my understanding and in my experience, entirely on whether or not you can meet the sort of deadlines, if you will, or meet the timeline that you've set out. Because of course, live streaming doesn't really work if you just do it off the cuff. Now, I've live streamed a few times, and all of them have really just been sort of testers, and every single one has actually been relatively well received and relatively well watched. So I've done pretty well on live streaming thus far. I've only done it 3 or 4 times, but each time it's been relatively successful. But in order to make live streaming a proper thing, it's better to have a set time, so people know if I tune into the channel on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, I will be able to watch Galu live streaming, for example. That makes it ascends. It's not the word. That is how live streams really strengthen and grow and succeed. And of course, it just requires a proper commitment. At the moment, I obviously try and do 4 videos, sometimes only do 3, but it doesn't really matter too much. It doesn't affect the general outline of the channel. Each campaign progresses in time, and as long as Divide and Conquer is being covered with developer diaries and general campaigns, then the channel is fine. We're ticking along, if you will. But with live streaming, you can't be that blasé. You can't think, oh, I'll miss this week, it doesn't matter, I'll do it tomorrow, for example. Because then you'll lose a massive chunk of viewers who turn up at 10 o'clock in the morning only to find there's nothing to watch. So it requires a bit of a commitment. And of course, YouTube isn't my job, as I bang on about all the time. So this is very much spare time kind of thing. So I couldn't guarantee that I'd be able to hit that every week anyway, because I might be out on a Saturday, as I would not put YouTube before my, well, particularly the needs of my other half, who I now live with, of course. And so it'd be difficult to meet the schedules what I'm going for. But the real crux of all of this is just, as a very early doors kind of looking into it, how many people would actually be interested in something of that nature, where it wouldn't be a playthrough per se, although it would on in live streaming, of course, but instead it would be, the videos themselves would just be a sort of breakdown of what has happened to whichever nation I've chosen to play over at the time. And I'd just be interested to gauge support for that. I'd interested to read your comments on that regard as well. But what I might also do is pop one of the community posts out. Oh, you're just 152. See, when I don't actually control them, they tend to do better than when I do. But I might put a community post out. But then I don't know how much traction they get. I don't have notifications for any YouTube channel, and I probably should so that I know how they work. But I don't have any, so I don't know if you get notified when a YouTuber does a community post. But anyway, I could put out a community post. Now, the only reason I ask is because it did really resonate with me to be able to create your own narrative based on a nation you have entirely created. One of my favourite things since doing this YouTube thing, some of you may have seen that with various campaigns and at various points, people have written sort of stories, if you will. Let's just turn it. There's keys to the sound, isn't it? Control something. Oh, I don't want to test it. We'll just mute it for now. When I've done certain episodes of Divide and Conquer and Warhammer and any video really, it doesn't matter which, people do, and some people, and it springs to mind obviously instantly because they always stick in my mind, is Knight of the North, who's written many of these sort of stories. And so I'll do something in the episode. Like, for example, we've just taken Hobbiton and we've killed Bilbo Baggins. Now, as a game player, that doesn't actually really mean all that much. Like, it doesn't really affect us. We're not all that bothered. But then Knight of the North, or one such writer, may then write a little snippet about how the hobbits make a defiant last stand in Hobbiton, and even Bilbo is seen standing atop the hill, like defiantly holding off the forces of Angmar until, I don't know, you could say an arrow kills him or something like that. And it just adds some emotion and personality to the story, which otherwise I don't think is there. Yes, you can watch me play, and we can see how the game progresses, and that in of itself is pleasant. That's why most people watch these kinds of things. But to then have that extra emotional level, which I don't think you necessarily get from just watching the gameplay, is just awesome. For example, when I was the final episode of the Templin Institute's Stellaris campaign, the final episode on their main channel, not the live streamed one, but the sort of the rundown of what's happened in the last month, was so good and so impactful. The way they talk about certain fleets coming in and saving the day at the last moment, and people giving their lives in support of defeat of the Unbidden, or I think they're called Unbidden. I've not actually had an endgame event yet, and it just added, as I say, that emotional depth that the other story doesn't have, and I thought that would be a very fun thing to try. It obviously would require a script as well, so that's something very new to me, and I've written many things for Divide and Conquer, but I'm in no way a writer by any stretch of the imagination. I don't really have any kind of English background, English as a study, I mean. I absolutely loathed it. All we ever did was cover Shakespeare's plays. Every English school student is required to know one or two of Shakespeare's plays in depth throughout their study, and gods above are they boring. And so I was never really one with English. But then I suppose I went on to do a law degree, and now I'm a lawyer. So English is an inherent part of that. We have to convey a message. And generally speaking, you've got to talk about a complex legal aspect in a very simple way. So it does give you a style of writing. So I suppose I have a little bit more of a knowledge of English than maybe some, but I'm in no way a proper writer. But it would allow me to sort of test my writing chops, if you will, and see what it comes of. But the biggest thing is the commitment thing. And if people are sort of like, yeah, I'm not all that bothered, I wouldn't really watch, then I, of course, wouldn't bother. That's what the question really is for, is gauging interest. Because if you're going to put, say, I don't know, 10 hours or something into a project, you want it to at least be watched, not necessarily revered, but at least be interacted and engaged with. And that's the hope. That's the question, really. Is would it be of interest? But then I'm also wary and reticent, of course, because at the moment I struggle to meet even minor promises that I make on the channel regarding DaC or the video types that we're doing or things like that. So I would like to see it through for myself, just to finally actually finish one of these things. But then the other thing in the back of my mind, and apologies, this whole episode has just been me ranting and talking about Stellaris. The other thing in the back of my mind is that Stellaris is a very lengthy game. And for example, again, going off the Templin Institute's one, I believe they started on a medium map with possibly the maximum number of empires. I think it's about 14 or 16 or something like that. And they had... It was basically 35 or 40 hours of gameplay to get from the start to the end. So, and they live streamed in 2-hour segments. So, as you can imagine, that's about 15 to 16 2-hour long live streams every week, and then round it up with a video once a month. Oh, look, they've got Greenway Riders. Get rid of them, please. Quick, while they're standing still. Oh, I didn't even check their army, actually. Oh, look, I'm so engrossed in talking about not DaC. There we are. Oh, well, anyway, so do give me your thoughts. Do let me know what you think, and I probably will do a community post shortly after this video goes live, I should imagine, just to coincide. Ah, you finished to plough in. Ah, the cavalry's going the other way. Perfect. Agendar, haven't you got an ability? Oh, we've got people in defence. I always forget to turn that off. He's up against Watchman Axgar, but they're not going to do anything. And the cavalry is repositioned to match the riders. But I think they haven't got a general, so I think we can get them to break here, to be honest. But anyway, turning our attention over to DaC, something that will be coming in the next few days, as Hummingbird has knocked out his proposals and will likely set about the task at hand in due course, and that is the removal of all experience bonuses. This is a change that I think some people will definitely moan about, so it's got to get recognition out early doors. But obviously we have certain buildings like the Gondor Military Academy and certain culture buildings that give an experience bonus to troops upon completion. And as you are, I have no doubt, are all now aware, the experience bonus thing is bugged in Medieval 2. And if you are retraining a unit to increase its experience, you have to make sure that it is the last thing you do in a turn. By that I mean, if I'm queuing up 7 units in a town, all for retraining of experience, I have to make sure that that's the final thing before I click end turn. Otherwise, they won't actually retrain. And so people that don't know that small and minor facet, which I should imagine is a lot of people, will wonder why their units are never retraining and are constantly in the retraining queue. And it just drives you up the wall that you've got to remember to do them at the perfect moment or they won't retrain. And given that this is a very, very minor feature and is a bug I believe the AI also suffers from, we are just going to cut it.
The enemy army
capture some more of them.
Pursue and run them down.
Ceasefire. So we can't fix it because it is a hard-coded bug. We'd have to crack the executable and edit, and we don't have the expertise to do that, and B, we're not allowed to do that. So we're not going to fix it. Instead, we are just simply going to remove it. Oh, 64. We killed almost all of them.
Worthy of only the
oh, well, actually, Agendauer took down 108. The Guardians of Khandum. Oh, hold on. Let's just look at the other column for a moment. The Guardians of Khandum killed a total of 19 and took 411 as captive. Mighty powerful. I don't know what I was talking about now. Ah, curses. What was I banging on about? Oh, experience. Yes, there aren't very many buildings that actually give an experience bonus, so we're just going to remove it and replace those bonuses with another thing. And yesterday it was agreed upon on what the final sort of course of those new things will be. So retraining for experience will go. And the way it was supposed to work is that if you build a building that gives a unit experience, that unit is supposed to then recruit with that extra experience. So when I recruit a new unit, it would come with 1 experience point already. And in practice, it didn't work like that because the game is bugged. And you always had to retrain them to get to the point. And it also then meant that if I've got a town that gives, say, 3 experience point bonuses, and I build a whole new army in it, I have to build all 20 of my units and then retrain all 20 of my units. And so it just added a whole extra few turns, and it was for 1 experience point. It never really felt like it was worth it. I want to auto-resolve this, but the cavalry won't be used to its full extent, so we are going to attack them. So no, that's going to go. That is going to go. The military academy, the suggestion for the military academy was the one that was thought on the most quite a while ago, and the Gondorian and Dol Amrothian one, it will be retooled as a sort of extension of the fiefdom barracks. And now it won't actually train fiefdom units, but it will retrain fiefdom units. It will also give you another bonus that I can't actually remember at the moment. But it will allow you then to train your fiefdom units in Minas Tirith, or the fiefs they actually come from, go out on your campaigns, and then if you've got an army of fiefdom units, simply build the military academy and you can retrain them. But it does have a secondary bonus as well, and as I say, I can't remember what that is. Where are the woodsmen? Over on the other side. I should be able to win this one entirely with cavalry, to be honest, especially if they all group up nicely and the Witch King doesn't charge well. Of course, that's exactly what we need you to do. Oh, we're fighting against the Kingdom of Aragon. Oh, no, I always think that when I look at those crossed swords.
Only half the enemy force remains.
There we are, lovely. The sellswords are ploughing on though, as if they don't exist. Send the Witch King back. Who are they charging at? Angmar infantry. Hold your ground, men. Pull everyone else out. Oh, Witch King. Pull back, pull back. Don't shoot. Is that them over? There we are, broken fight to the death. So unfortunately we have lost some units.
Behold how our this is a
20.
clear victory.
And how many of those? 17 of them from the Angmar. Oh dear. Well, someone had to take the brunt. The sellswords are actually a very good unit. They were going to get through. And they did. Sadly. Sadly. So there we are, that's a modding update and a sort of suggestion for the channel. And
victory!
Successful victories all round, really. Now, how have we owned Goberdrine for long?
Now kneel before us, my lord.
Oh wow, the dwarves are coming en masse. These dwarves are so annoyingly... How do they get so many troops? Yes. Someone commented mentioning that they noticed I got ships in Angsul, and should I consider sailing around to the dwarves and striking them from the sea?
I'll rip off your head. I'll rip off your head and spit down your neck.
I'm sure you will, friend, and I look forward to that. Right, what I think we should do is essentially again abandon the town, leave those behind and those behind, and pull back to the bridge.
As you command. Orders.
Where we can take the reinforcements that have come. And we've got an archer unit coming from there in a moment. We've got 2 more. Oh, if you guys go into Angsul, then we'll take you guys. Extra numbers. And we've got some retrained units over here. Send those into Kandum as well. No, sorry, that one. Send that one into Angsul, not Kandum. I'm all over the place. You're going in there. You're going to Shadun. I can't remember what time I actually started this recording.
Yes,
very disappointingly.
Your orders, my lord. Yes, my lord.
You've got 2 more units to take. Oh, no, of course. They're going to be the town defenders, aren't they, when we've taken it? Well, it's only got 3 turns, and to be honest, again, I would rather siege them out. We're going quite a ways, and I think we need to keep as many troops alive as we can. Although Bree has abandoned Camath Bryn, the only army they've got down this side. And are you retraining? Don't do that. We'll have another 2 units. I really would actually quite like Morty to come at me, because I think we can hold him in Imladris. Although we don't have an armory. I didn't realise we didn't have an armory. I thought we did. But despite the fact that we've wiped out the Northern Dunedain some time ago, we are still really flirting around the borders of Gobadrine and Nokaraklaw over here. It's disappointing. But that's because of my very defensive and slow-moving policy. Ah, Agendour, I almost totally forgot about you. Where's the next town? Mitchell Delving's over there, but you can't raid that because it's got walls. So we'll go south.
Yes.
Oh, there's Mitchell Delving. Oh. Ignore it. There we are, Sackville. Let's hit Sackville. And we'll curl around, I think, and skirt through the southern lands, because I don't think Bree will do anything. But something that has been long requested, and I keep forgetting to do, is a toggle fog of war for the rest of the world, where we won't play a part and won't have an impact, so we can see what they all look like. And let's do that then. So, Harad are doing relatively well, but they haven't actually crossed the river. They're being held by Dol Amroth, although Dol Amroth has lost Methrast. Methrast, a weird way of saying it. Methrast. And goodness gracious, what is this? Linden have Balorn and Lond Angren, but Enedwythe seem to have cut them off and taken... No, it's Dunland! Ah, Linden must have gone to war with Enedwythe, pushed through their lands. I think then maybe Londair and Siduri have rised up against them, and Dunland have nipped in and taken them from the rebels that then arose, is all I can think. So, Linden are doing very well, but focusing entirely on the south, which is, unfortunately, we now know that, but it's a bit of a boost in our knowledge. Enedwythe is soon to be defeated. They have a single province left. And hopefully then Dunland might turn its attention to Bree, because if we double check again, Dunland have no allegiance to Bree whatsoever. They're allied to Linden, though, of all people. Oh, this is the older version where you can't click on the symbols. They're allied to Linden, they're allied to Isengard, and they're allied to Moria, who... The Goblins of Moria are at war with Bree. So there's natural cause for Dunland to go to war with Bree, so they might help us. And as I say, Enedwythe's only got the one left. And the alliance of Dunland and Linden has brought down... Why are Linden allied to Dunland? It does always make me chuckle. Isengard doing relatively well. They've taken Dunlas Steer, but Edoras and Hornburg hold. The Hornburg hold. Onodrith is well defended, and Rochberg and Tirith Anduin supplying to the cause. Lothlorien have built up Edraichan into quite a stronghold, as you can see there. That's as big as it goes. The golden trees of Lorien, the Malon tree being spread throughout the world. But Linhir is still relatively small. Oh, Limhir it's called there. I thought it was with an N. That might be a mistake. There's the force moving north for the Grand Crusade, or the invasion of Thranduil's Halls. There it is. Not doing very well, because Thranduil's Halls is filled to the brim with elves who are better than the orcs. But Gundabad and Gundabad and Erebor are hitting it out in the Withered Heath, fighting over the castle of Anazanar. And Gundabad are streaming in by the looks of it, and the dwarves are leaving most of their army in Witherboard. That's bizarre. Gundabad not even able to break into Framsburg yet, though. But the Anduin are in a very sorry state. Bjorn's Halls is still in their control. Leotholt, Dwinberg, and Rosgabel, but they've lost Fenholm, and they've lost Meithelberg, their great second city. But Khazad-dûm are knocking around there, actually. Khazad-dûm are not doing very well, as they ever don't. They never really break into Khazad-dûm West. They always just sit in Khazad-dûm. They're very much a nation for the player, not for the game. So if you play as them, they're quite interesting, and you can have your little campaign to get Khazad-dûm and then play from there. But the AI doesn't really do anything with Khazad-dûm, which is no bad thing, really, because if they actually tried, they'd smash the forces of Moria, and that would be a key player in the centre gone. So Dorwinion, as you can see, are right down to it, although Rune have taken Ilanin, because this is a runic upgrade. They've upgraded the town, the castle. And Dorwinion have then taken it back, which is interesting. Sant-Anwi still holds, and so does Karasant, but Strondost has fallen to the Golden Tide. And they have the Isle of Naburka as well, or the Isle of Nabur, and their trade flourishes. But there's a lot less than it used to be, and we're 140 turns in, so they've had 140 turns of economic growth, which they do very well. But their trade is also stretching all the way up the river to Ilanin, and then beyond. I wonder if Rune are trading with Dale. Because those ships are definitely coming from... Oh, no, they're coming from Karasant. That's Dorwinion trade to Dale. Ignore me. But Erebor are losing in the east, as, by the looks of it, Skarn is almost certainly going to fall, unless they've got an army of trash, in which case the auto-resolve will destroy them. But turning our attention back to the south, as we can see, Gondor and Mordor are in stalemate, as they often are. No one can break the other. The sides of Mount Mindalluin remain black and white in Gondorian colour, and Mordor's not yet broken across Osgiliath or Andros. Which is good, really. Very good. But I think that's about it in terms of what's happening. Khand, of course, are now trapped in there. Khand, I think, sided with Mordor, so they didn't turn evil this time, sadly. But the biggest thing is just that Lindon has done something. I mean, that just never happens. Londangren and Balorn, of all places. I wonder if they sailed there, actually. I'm very curious as to how Lindon have those two, but not those two, and Bregos. They've clearly gone to war with Enid White. They've got two Wythian towns, Dulvorn and Bregost. But they don't have Sidurian Londare, so how have they gotten here? And if they have sailed, then that's awesome. To be honest, that's just damned awesome. And I wish them all the best in that. But in fact, any attention they can focus on the south,
yes,
greatly received. Greatly received. Speaking of cheesing the game, though, because we're up against it, let's sell some towns. I know people dislike it when I do this, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I want the money. Give region. Sorry, I'm not focusing. I'm not paying attention. Here, look, have Hobbiton. And I will take the low sum of... How much money have you got? I don't know, 10,000 maybe? That's generous, isn't it?
I do not...
Oh, no. When they reject it, it means the next time you have to be substantially lower. How about 4,000 then?
No, we cannot agree
No.
to this. You have
In a minute, they're just going to say no. Let's take away the map information and go for... oh no, I want a single payment. My diplomacy is not very good here, is it? Give me, I don't know, 3,000 then, and no map information.
I do not.
Oh, come on, you don't even want to just...
accept another proposition.
Alright.
Happy to listen.
It's because they don't really want it. 500 gold coins.
I accept this wonderful... Well, that seemed fruitful.
That'll do. They won't hold it, of course. It will rebel, which is partly why I'm not too bothered about doing that. But the key is to try and get Dunland involved in the war. Because Bree can't deal with two of us. They just cannot deal with two of us. And so if we can try and force Dunland into this war, then we might have a shot. A chance of victory.
The enemy lay siege to
Oh, dwarves. What is this pathetic little rabble? The Witch King has a challenge on his hands. Look at those two armies there. I think we must have killed most of the dwarves' ruling family, though. Because they're just not sending generals with these armies. But I feel confident the Witch King is going to be able to mop up those two in the north. And if we can, I would like to move down to Bardi Donyonak again and push our line down to there. But the dwarves are so keen on just walking around your forward points. Oh, the Moot Lord of Enedwythe is dead. Does that mean Enedwythe is dead? Yes, it does. They are gone. Enedwythe are no more. Oh, and we just built a shed load of things. Oh no, we retrained. Angsul built a barracks finally, which means we can chuck some real units into this fray. And Imladris got its Great Hall, giving us more free upkeep and faster, more recruitment options. And Bree moved back to Cameth Bryn. Interesting.
Your will, my lord.
Interesting indeed. Athelin is attacked.
I'm only here to fight the Yagul.
Athelin will not hold, and it has not yet got that.
Orders. An order.
Bug up. You move in on them. They're going to run away when you do that.
Yes. Your will, my
Head over. Your guys are going to Angsul. You're coming with me.
Yes. Your will.
You're coming with me.
Orders.
And I don't need you in Angsul, so you might as well come with the army.
Your command. Yes.
I'd like to see them try and take us on there now. Fortunately, Agandal was not attacked again. They're just sort of chasing him round. So we'll take out Will the Fat, some farmhand pikemen, and we'll get some more money from Sackville, which is greatly needed. Muchly not used in that context, which is greatly needed. Sorry. Oh, look at the army we've got in Morvatarth. Ah, you can link up then. Oh, go into the fort for now. Go into the fort. Go into the fort.
Orders. Your will, my lord.
Why is that so difficult? Ah, there we go. There we are. Some more free upkeep, and we'll link you up with the army when we come through. Is there an Imladris fort we can have? No, there's not. There's that one over there which we own, but can't get that. And the Witch King will attack and defeat those in the north. We don't border the North Farthing, so we can't see if it's still held by them or not. sight range on that. But I think that is about where we shall end today's episode. So thank you very much for watching, if indeed you have. And this, of course, marks the return to my 3 DaC videos a week. And this being the 3rd. I do hope that you have enjoyed it. And until we speak again, dear friends, I welcome your thoughts on Stellaris and what you'd think of that. But in general, and until then, Navar Naden Pedamad Melunin, and farewell.